Morning peeps, clear blue sky on this fantastic morning on this 29th, I think the 30th, yes 30th of May 2025. So let's keep an eye out for the rest of the day, see what happens. Is the day is going to be ruined by trials? Doubt that very much, because normally we'll see them by now. If we're getting like these, like this day for instance here, gets quite rampant. As we are pretty much, what time are we on now? We are 6:20 in the morning. Okay. So yes, I'm an early bird. I like to keep my eye out to the sky. I'll see you a bit. Yeah, but this is all to do with a documentation to prove to myself and to you that trails in the sky, and I think it's important to really track the days, the whole day. Okay, according to the Met Office, this is the official weather broadcast for the UK, and it is saying it's going to be pretty much overcast to a certain degree, some sunshine mixed in, with an easy temperature of 17 to 18, 19, well about 20 degrees, not too bad for this time. Humidity 75. Now this shouldn't be taken into consideration what can actually cause the trails to form if you're going by the mainstream media. Yeah, so there we go so far. And what's it like? Clear blue sky, it's beautiful. So the weatherman said it's supposed to be a bit overcast. Well, I see clear blue sky, darling, do you know what I mean? Anyway, right, one scoop around the sky you can see, I think I can see a chemtrail being formed right there. No, I'm joking. Oh, it's a condensation trail. Right, I'll catch you in about half an hour. Hour has gone past, and once we have some cumulus making its round, and also this white mass coming towards this area. There you go. Right, nothing spectacular at the moment, still pretty much decent weather. Don't look at me, it's still early in the morning. Right, there we go, see you in a bit. Look at this! A very small trail, I've got another one there. Let's go back and let's take a look at the sky. Let's have a look. What we got? This I want to see on the time lapse. Actually, I'll stick it up there now so you can see. And obviously I'll be doing a final conclusion at the end of the video as we go through the time lapse and see what's been going on for the whole day. Yeah. So there's the most common clouds I have seen is cumulus, cirrus, and in blends of the cirrus you've got the trail. I hate to be like a weatherman or sound like a weatherman. So yeah, very common occurrence I keep seeing. So here we are. I'm going to show you something here. This is such a typical English sky, and I guarantee anywhere in the world you will see it exactly the same as this. Right here we've got the cumulus, that's very low, you can see that moving quite quickly actually. That's that there, and obviously the cirrus with the trail. I would honestly say that trail is probably a bit lower than that cirrus and thin, which is a common theme with these small little trails. But again, ask yourself the question, it's not going to block out the sun, is it? Is this the start of the program? And what does the program actually look like? So you remember the last video I showed you, that stretchiness? Typical cirrus. And the same again with this as well. You can see at the ends there, it's starting to go that like whisper effect. Despite the view-ins of these videos, I'm still going to do them because I'm extremely fascinated how clouds are formed and what these trails do, specifically for the trails really. soon as the trail is out like that, I'm out. That's it. Boom. I'm going to wait for the days where it is extremely bad, you know, when it's like this. Horrendously, where the trails are appearing across the sky from horizon to horizon. This Cirrus is getting quite long. Time lapse, be interesting to see what it does in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, as we are officially approaching to summer. Well, actually, no, we're at the end of May. We're the 29th of May. I know summer isn't for another, well, technically another month actually, another 4 weeks. So we're still in spring season. Right, I'll catch you in a bit. As soon as I see in like a fat trail, we'll track it, see what it is. Because I did see an air tanker the other day, but it produced no trail, which made no sense because it was in the same altitude where the trails were actually being formed. See what I mean? That makes me go, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. So there we go. Right, catch you in a bit. A few moments have passed. The time lapse are going to real pick this one up, this big cloud. And I did see this trail being formed. Fortunately, where I live, I don't have any like 4G or 5G. Practically no signal. Not necessarily a bad thing because you get some natural headspace. Let's bring up some pictures from past, well, 80 years on clouds and whether or not we can actually find these clouds out. Because there's some pictures that people post on the Chemtrail Facebook page, which tends to get like hundreds of likes. Now, I'm not jealous. It's just like I said, I think people are misidentifying what they're seeing in the sky like that. Oh, that is so typical Cirrus. Isn't it wonderful how it just sort of stretches out because it hits the turbulence, the wind shear, so to speak. Because it's at that cruising altitude. Well, it's not cruising altitude, it's a bit higher than that cruising altitude because you get less turbulence. It's practically where the jet stream is, which gives the stretchy appearance of the clouds. You can see it all over at the moment. There we go. Right. Okay, well, I'll keep my eyes to the skies and see if we can find another trail. Because remember, if we got Cirrus, a trail would normally form in that area. Okay, look, it is such a small trail, and to say they just turned that off in that area there, it just, for me, it just makes no sense. Why would that plane travel thousands of miles just to do that? Okay, yeah, I'm seeing a very small portion of the sky, but nevertheless, it's just like, I keep on hearing it's supposed to dim the sun. You know what I mean? But we've got the Cirrus. Remember the video? Here it is here.
Cirrus clouds play an important role in our planet's climate. By reflecting sunlight back into space, they help to cool the Earth. But they also trap heat radiating from the Earth's surface, contributing to a warming effect. It's a delicate balance, and one that scientists are still studying to fully understand.
So right there, Cirrus is going to do more of a better job than, obviously, this Cirrus here, this white blanket, this white haze you can see, is going to do more sufficient job of actually dimming, not let alone even blocking out the sun. I mean, look, if you say that's Cirrus there, I can still feel the heat from that. But also, we need to mention Cirrus cloud thinning, which is part of a geoengineering program, which was stated on the government website, which I did a video on, talk about modelling for solar radiation management. And Cirrus cloud thinning, and there's a marine sky brightening, and obviously solar radiation management, which is now changing to solar radiation modification. And it's talking about obviously dimming the sun. Oh, perfect, right. Okay, we've got one right there. Right, where you two, mate? Where you two, you bastard? He's there somewhere. Now, the problem with this camcorder is that it's extremely crap at focusing on anything that's in the sky, especially at blue sky. Excuse me. Is this gonna give a persistent trail? Let's have a look. It gave a little one there. What's the point of that? Let's have a look. Oh, that looks like the Irish plane. Should we have a look? Because it's given off that. Where is it to? So it's given off that there. I'm pretty sure. And a little bit more down there as well, as you can see. Okay, so it's given off a trail. I got a funny feeling it might be going into London Airport. Should we check? Oh, look at that. I was bang on right. I called it the Irish plane because it had the blue engines and the blue tag. You see on the side there? So that is the plane, and let's go back. So this plane is travelling to London. Yes, I recognise the destination, where the plane was flying, and it's travelling at 22,000 feet. Obviously it was a lot higher at that point where it was actually given off that trail that you saw there. Again, this is a commercial flight, and this is called, it's called that. Oh no, it's not, hold on. It's that one there. And it's called this, Aer Lingus. Oh, it sounds like cunnilingus, doesn't it? Grow up, Nick, for Christ's sake. So yeah, it's travelling at 21,000 feet coming down. So yes, it's arriving into London. Heathrow Airport, I think? I don't know. But there we go. So that plane gave off that trail. Look how fucking bloody small that thing is. What the... Come on. I'll do better than that. You want to dim the sun, mate. You know, don't mess me about. Got nothing else better to do in my time. Oh, there we go. So yeah, it gave off that. And it gave off that. It just turned the spray off for some odd reason, which makes no sense. If the fuel was contaminated with the chemical, then how do they separate the chemical with the fuel if the fuel's been contaminated with the chemicals? See what I mean? You know what I mean? I would honestly say that's most likely a condensation trail. I'm going to be honest with you. But we've got a little... Should we see what the time lapse does? Let's put the time lapse so you can see what this trail does. Here's a book from 1983, I think, somewhere there. I'll put the date here. This is a fantastic book. It truly is. It gives you some really detailed analysis of what clouds, especially like cirrus clouds, any types of cloud really, that we're still seeing today. So nothing's really unusual when it comes to anything cloud related. But there's one page, I'm going to show you this now. I'm going to put the picture here. And you can see what these trails do. And even back then, even if like long trails and small trails, once it hits the turbulence, you've got to think, the people that wrote this book, which are the authors here, they studied the weather. This is what they do. And like I mentioned, I just cannot take, the public's face value that a persistent trail in the sky is a chemtrail and a trail that dissipates is a contrail. That has been bombarded into the chemtrail community, and people have just believed it. And through my research, that is simply not true. But you try saying that to a chemtrail believer, they think you're a bloody like Russian agent. It's such an echo chamber. And listen, I was there once. I was so there once. Until one day I thought, do you know what, let's just pick up some books, have a look, to see if we can find these trails and all these clouds that appear to be man-made, all these HAARP clouds. And you can see it's happened for a long period of time. And I can't just say, well, that's a chemtrail then. Chemtrail's been going on for a long period of time. I'm pretty sure the technology would have changed by now. Hence why Concerned Citizen on Twitter keeps on posting for the past, God knows, 6 months, saying that the whole entire UK landscape has been covered in this white haze. Not white haze, it's this white blanket that's been geoengineered, not necessarily to do with chemtrails, but geoengineered through technology. I mean, that lasted for about 4 months. Didn't see the sun for literally months on end, from September to about April. And then when spring hit, around about April, the skies cleared, and then suddenly you start to see a couple of trails in the sky, and they went, oh, they're trying to block out the sun now. I was like, well, hold on a fucking minute, what was all that 6 months about you were talking about? Blocking out the sun with advanced technology, and it was blamed on a cyclone or something like that. I'll put a little extract here. And you look at the map of this, if they can do that with technology, why the fuck are they actually spraying little dobs and blobs of these bloody trails? Do you know what I mean? It's just such misconclusions of people just don't take information and then go, hold on a minute, that don't make any sense. So just don't believe in anything you hear on the internet about chemtrails. A lot of information that has been twisted. Looks like a face there, isn't it? Look at that. So that's pareidolia for you. Like, you got a mouth, you get the idea, you know. So just be very careful. And don't believe me, Dane Wingington, or anybody who talks about flipping chemtrail, especially these people that make bloody 10-second TikTok videos and insert themselves into the video and then start scratching their head and pointing up. Don't know anything about clouds or weather or anything like that. I'm bitching, aren't I? Okay, we've got another trail, which is obviously that one there, and as you can see, it is the same flight. Well, no, same aircraft, I should say. And it is Aer Lingus. I'm sorry, that sounds like cunnilingus. I'm sorry, I'm immature. Yes, it's 21,000 feet. As it was descending, I did see it go past. And yeah, it's made that big trail. But let's have a little scan through. Look, beautiful cirrus. Ooh, I tell you what, I'm going to put a picture up right now that I found on the internet. It's my favourite things in the world. It's Bristol Balloon Fiesta. Look at that whisper there. Now look at that. Isn't that like pretty much identical? I tell you what, I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to put it up on screen, and then we can compare the two. Because these whispers do look like chemtrails spread out, don't it? You have to admit. And it's just a typical cirrus. Nevertheless, what do I keep on saying? The trails, the persistent trails, they turn into technically cirrus. Once they spread out, it's basically cirrus stratus. But also, if you have a look, and this is the other thing I need to have a look at. The trail is behind this cloud here, which means the trails are above, but it would have been at 20,000 feet. And these clouds are a bit lower than that. Oh, here's another one. Where are you two? Ah, there we are. Okay, there's a plane up there somewhere, which you just saw, and it is this one here. It is British Airways, which makes sense because it's got the logo with the underbelly, the blue underbelly, travelling at 24,000 feet, which makes sense. And there is another one as well I can see behind it, as you can see here. There's another one, which is another British Airways travelling to London, 25,000 feet. And I can see it just there at the moment. Oh, there we are. There we go. British Airways, perfect example. The blue underbelly underneath. There we go. Look at that. Hello. Oh yes, British Airways. Yeah. So it's saying one is giving off these persistent trails. Those two British Airways you just saw just produced those two, and I did back it up by the flight tracker. It was travelling around about 22,000 feet. One of them was travelling at 25,000 feet. So the base level of that is obviously where the cirrus clouds are. Actually, no, I'm joking. I'm lying on that one because the clouds you can see here in the distance are a lot lower than the trails, and the trails are quite prominent in the background. Now, if obviously the plane flew through the cirrus, which is this cloud here, it'll obviously make a line for it. And if it's hitting the sun directly, you'll be able to see it's actually it'll produce a shadow. Okay, but again, this is proof that these are commercial airlines, and it's not really doing its job in terms of dimming the sun. Remember talking about the cirrus clouds, which is all what we're seeing here, that this will do pretty much the same thing as what these trails are. But once again, British Airways, two little strips, as you can see right there. Not going to block the sun out though. Okay, I've got one of my books. This is one of the best ones I've got. I just want you to pay attention to this bubbliness here, okay? And the same goes for this whole area, just so you can see what it's like, alright? I'm going to bring up this book here, which is this, or I can actually read it. And this came out in 1983. And just pay attention to that. And it's saying it's cirrocumulus, okay, with cirrus primarily to the right, a globular patterns show organised into rows or billows. The supercooled water droplets of cirrocumulus are changed in ice of cirrus. And this is what you're getting, look at this. You see it starts to like bubble away. And there's a clear example of that like here. And this is why you just saw the halo around the sun just not long ago. Sorry for the dog barking. Here we go. Well, you can see it's a mixed bag today. It's a mixed bag. But with the trails, there's a couple in there, because obviously you've got the cirrus stratus in there. Can you just about see the halo around the sun? Yeah, just about. But there we go. So this high altitude cloud you can see, which is where my finger is, that and all that there, is what's called cirrocumulus. Should be able to see the halo around the sun with a bit of luck. And once again, this white haze. Just the sun. Just the sun is shining. I've had terrible problems with slugs and snails in my garden at the moment. That beautiful sun. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, I shouldn't point the camera up into the sun. But this white haze is not necessarily dimming. It's actually quite nice in terms of temperature. What I should do is get a thermostat, put one outside, and I can actually test whether or not this white haze, if it is chemtrail related. Well, I don't see any chemtrails in the sky at all. And I'm not saying this persistent white haze is to do with that, because it can be natural. There we go. Right, see you in a minute. A few moments have passed. Now it's completely blanketed out in this cirrostratus. Yes, I would say so. Got the halo around the sun, mate. Look at that. Let's analyse the skies and look at the trails. Let's see, what can we figure out? Are the trails making a difference to this white haze, which I guarantee someone's taken a picture of on Chemtrail Facebook page. One trail there, tiny little bit. There's one little bit over there. Just a bit there. Oh, and actually that bit there. Oh, and that bit there, as you can see right there. But all in all, I can't see any visible trails being distinguished. But one would say, oh, there's all been spread out, you see. Well, you don't know that, you see. You don't know. But I can put up a book suggesting that this is natural. Hence the other day, check this out, the white haze forming in that area. It says we've got a lot more of it. Boom. It's 1:45. We still have that white haze. Check the time lapse once again. Nothing to do with chemtrails. But we do have the ring around the sun, which is a sign of cirrus stratus. Swing the camera around so you can see. Okay, let's mark out trails in the sky. One there. We've got a few up there. In fact, that is the cirrocumulus up there, which is just below that trail. But all in all, it's not, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's a 360 pan, once again, just to show you that white haze. I'm going to be honest, the sun's really hot. It's not dimming the sun, and it's definitely not dimming the temperature, for sure. I tell you that now. Temperatures are not dipping. There are a few trails in the sky, but nothing like this. Okay, catch you in a bit. Right, a few hours have passed, and we have what people will claim, or the chemtrail believers will claim, that this is HAARP clouds. They're shooting beams of energy. Well, it's not energy, it's basically EMF waves into the clouds to either control the weather or control the population for mind control, or to make the frogs gay. Either way, there's so many conspiracies behind it, but actually this is called billow clouds. You can track it back through many books from many decades. It's nothing new, but at the moment you can see this, I think it's called a linear cloud. But this here, why they put an EMF waves, whatever they call it, in this area here, just here, and not around anywhere else? I can't see it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what? So the HAARP in Alaska, or the one we have in Wales, has just done that, is it, in that area? A little bit in that area. It's, yeah, like, what for? Like, what's it going to do to the weather? Ask yourself the question, why are they doing it? Do you know what I mean, brothers and sisters? But yeah, again, this is called billow clouds. I'm going to put a bunch of photographs on the screen right now, dating back. I'll put the date on there for you, sod it, so you can see. So I'm not just a trust me bro. But the time lapse will pick this up. So there we go. So at the moment, it is a bit mixed bag when it comes to what's been potentially blocking out the sun. I tell you what now, that's not blocking out the sun. I can feel that sun. It's beautiful. Standing there. Where's the line of just asking questions, or is it just you regurgitated what you heard someone said on TikTok or something like that? You know, yeah. These so-called experts. I'm not an expert. I just do research, and I literally put the photographs on screen so you can see. You know what I mean? Right, I'm back. I'm back, me old lovers, as we would say in the southwest country. Pay attention to that over there. That there, you can see where my finger is. Looks like a plane has flown through a gap in the cloud, which would be the cirrocumulus. As you can see, it's all bubbly. There's cirrocumulus, and you can see that the plane has definitely flown through it. Same with, oh no, a trail up there, so it's obviously a lot higher. And so far, it's been a mixed bag today. There we go. But yeah, I could definitely tell that plane's definitely flown through. There we go. Altocumulus. Here's a photograph of it. Do you know what? I kind of sound a bit hypocritical because I complain about people pointing their cameras up in the sky and then narrating what they think is going on. But I do the same thing. However, like I do, at least I try to back it up with some sources and at least information so you can read and you can make your own assessment, because you know we're dealing with a generation or civilization that evolves around the concept of trust me bros. I need something you can back it up with, you know, don't just say it. It's like the people that say, oh, this is a contrail and that's a chemtrail. I see it all over Facebook and TikTok, and that is simply not true. And this is someone who is a chemtrail believer, for Christ's sake. I'm not denying chemtrails. I sound like more of a skeptic than anything, but you got to understand where I'm coming from on this. Where you need to look at both sides of the story. I understand people don't trust science. I understand that. Here's a typical example. I take this section of cloud. Someone would say, oh, that's HARP cloud, guarantee it. I'll try and find a photograph of someone saying that's his HARP cloud on Chemtrail Facebook page or something. So they're saying that beaming frequencies to actually make this. Here's a video that I found the other day. Okay, so they're basically saying that is to do with ELF frequencies. So what I do, I go back through my old books and I'll put something like this up, because I know the fact that what I'm seeing in the sky can most probably track back years ago. What I do, I go grab one of my old books, and I've got many old books, and I try to go as far back as like 1940 to 1950s, 60s, 70s, and try and find the same cloud. And I'm going to be honest with you, 10 times out of 10, I'm seeing the same cloud. This is altocumulus. They're not beaming frequencies. It's just, well, these clouds have been happening for a long period of time. So far, we are coming up to 5:30. Just twirl around, just to show you what the sky's like. No trails. Oh, hold on. There we go. There's one over there. That's the only trail I see in the sky so far. Right, catching a bit. Back once again, coming up to 6 o'clock. Let's review the time lapse for this. So it'll be interesting to see what this actually does. I think it's probably going to disappear. Going to be honest with you, it might go out of sight. Not too sure. So as I observe the clouds and see what they do, it's been really interesting because there's been so many clouds and so many different layers, and I can pretty much label every single one off in the book to a certain degree. I mean, if you just have a look at that, I find that just interesting. I mean, look at that cloud back up there, look. Look how it looks all like a, I don't know, like if you zoomed into a sponge. What a stupid description, but you know what I mean. As I'm still learning, I'm going to put a photograph of this. I think it must be altocumulus, some sort of, is up there in the stratosphere. Or is it? It might be a bit lower than that. It's hard to tell. But here's some photographs, what I think this might be. But I'll be interested to see what this does. Oh, before I go, I'm going to be honest with you. This big, thick cloud we see here, here it is on a time lapse. I think this is going to disappear. It might just evaporate in that area. I might be wrong. This is my prediction. I have seen this before. It's nothing new. It is moving quite fast, so time will tell. Time will tell. What do you think? Disappear or stretch out, get bigger? Well, more time has passed, and then we can see there's a bit of a sun dog. And oh, perfect. Where are you two, mate? Where are you two? Oh yes. Hello. Oh, you're hiding behind some clouds. That's fine, you do you, darling. Well, it did that right there. And you can see it turned the spray on and off. Oh, look at that, it's actually produced. Perfect. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to bring the phone out. I'm going to show you what plane this is. Okie dokie, so that plane was Virgin Atlantic, flying from New York to London, 25,000 feet. So, as you can see there, me old bubbers, we have another commercial flight. And it made that and that. And I think that's it. Not much to block the sun out. So what do you reckon? As we're coming up to nearly 7 o'clock, I think the spraying program is pretty much over to a certain degree. But that, my friend, is the most weakest trail I've ever seen. In fact, probably those two there, that one, and that's probably a trail. Who knows, there's a mixed bag today. What fun experiment. Okay, it is 5 to 9. I know that because I'm about to go live on Alien Addict, which is my live show I do every Friday on a show called Alien Addict. So yeah, there we go. Come check me out on YouTube. So, final conclusion. Let's do one more final spin. And before we end the show, I think it's worth just going through the time-lapse video. Once again, let's review the time-lapse video. This is really important so we can understand what I'm seeing in the sky, because I don't know what's basically spreading out as a trail or persistent trail or chemtrail or something natural. So let's start off in the morning. So far, there wasn't that much activity in the morning. I'm just going to skip ahead. Now what's coming up is that mass white haze right here. You see it forming where that trail is. And I thought that this was chemtrail related, and it's not. But now we reviewed the time lapse, we can clearly see it's something natural. You can see the trail forming and then it just appears there, doesn't it? So that's ruling out that the fact this is something to do with chemtrails. And I think this is really important to actually show you guys, is that a lot of people that I've noticed on the chemtrail community, I'm going to put this a little bit bigger actually so you'll be able to see, will take a picture of this. They see the trail in the sky and then they associate everything else in the background to do with chemtrails, and it's not. I'm just going to go back just to show you once again. You see the trail form and then that cloud comes into fruition. There it is, you see? So it's a natural cloud. So that's like one tick off the list, right? You can see it stretching out, and this part here, beginning of the episode, this part here, the cirrus, which I was showing you, that was like that stretchy long cloud, and this is it coming to fruition here, and you can see it's nothing to do with chemtrails or the trails, persistent trails. You've got one there and a few there, but it's not creating this mass white of haze. You can see it's actually forming itself and it's actually dissipating at the same time. And we need to account for how many trails are in the sky. There's a few here, but you can see this overall white mass coming into fruition. And that's when it starts to get like really hazy, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's chemtrails or persistent trails spreading out and blocking out the sun, or something natural. And as you can see, a lot of it is natural. The trails isn't really doing anything. I'm just going to skip forward ahead so you can see where this halo came in. And once again, let's track these trails. There's a few here. There's one big one there you can see. If I just go back, you can see it forming here. There it is there. It gets bigger and bigger. Follow the cursor. But it's the overall landscape I'm looking at here. If you can just observe, you can see this white mass of haze is natural and nothing really to do with the trails. I think the trails are really blending in with this white haze, as you can see. So once again, it's a mixed bag. You're really getting a mixture of two. So we can't just associate all of this to do with chemtrails. Look, it could be done in the near distance, but at the same time, you can't really resemble anything that, because it'd be extremely traily. If you really want to block out the sun with chemtrails, but you want to find these trails that go from horizon to horizon. And through this duration of this video, you can see we're just getting these very small trails and not really doing anything, guys, okay? Really, really important to analyze this. And this is where it gets interesting. Remember that long cloud I showed you? It came to around about 6 o'clock in the evening. It was after this halo being formed. And look at this. Check this out. Look at that. It just appears. This is a natural cloud. I'm not saying it's done by HARP or anything like that, because I've been showing you through the photographs that, look, this is a natural cloud. This is how clouds form. They literally just appear from nowhere. And you're still getting that altocumulus, which is obviously creating a halo around the sun. A few trails, this is it. Always track the trails. But we're getting such a mixed bag of clouds. Look at this. Look how amazing how that forms, isn't it? Just by speeding it up, you can actually analyze what the clouds are doing and what different types of cloud. Remember this bit here? I told you about the HARP cloud. If you observe on the side here, you can see that segment in the video, the ripple effect. There it is. See that there? So what you are witnessing is a bunch of natural cloud being formed. So what you're observing is high altitude clouds that's actually forming naturally. All right. I know the ripple effects gives the illusion that was to do with HAARP clouds, but I'm really ruling it out because there is really no scientific data to prove that ELF waves to do with HAARP facility can actually create these ripple effects in the clouds. If you can actually, someone can actually put an actual data in the comment section, because I've had a look myself and I can't find anything that proves that. And it's just basically people putting this and regurgitating what this is saying. But once again, on this 30th of May 2025, did the trails, the chemtrails, the persistent trails block out the sun? Once again, unfortunately, it did not. But nevertheless, it's not necessarily a failed experiment. We just need to analyze what we're really seeing in the sky. And you're going to get a non-bias. You ain't going to get any BS from me. I want to give you my honest opinion. And just remember, don't take my word for it. Don't take Dane Wington's or anybody that says anything about chemtrails as face value. Do your own research and make your own conclusion. And that's going to make you unique. Don't act like everyone else. Be yourself, okay? Do the research. And it's okay to say, well, the information that the chemtrail community and even my friends are saying is not exactly correct. That's fine. It don't matter because that's you. And that makes you unique, and put it that way. So this is why I do these videos. It's just to prove to me and you, it says, look, not every single trail we see in the sky is a chemtrail. And again, I'm not ruling out chemtrails. So anyway, I shall continue doing this analysis of the skies, and I'll catch you next time on the Cosmic Twilight and Investigate with Nick. I'll see you very soon.